Hey guys, it's Courtney Carson from Cosmic Clarity Astrology, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the Aries Full Moon happening on October 7th. So, what can we expect from a full moon like this? Well, I think one of the main messages that comes through with an Aries full moon is that it's a time for action. It's a time to seize the moment. Aries is one of the most urgent signs. As a fire sign, as a cardinal sign, it knows how to get up and go and embrace a sort of boldness towards life, an ability to take risks, to dream big, to be daring, and to go after something that you really want. So that is kind of like one of the biggest messages with this full moon. Of course, there are quite a lot of other stories and threads going on, and that will influence our ability to pursue this ultimate goal of taking some big, bold, daring action towards a desire that we have. So, one of the things I want to discuss is this need for us to focus. And one of the reasons I'm saying that is because the ruler of this Aries moon is Mars, and Mars is currently in Scorpio. Mars thrives in the sign of Scorpio because it really likes the intensity and the emotional conviction of this sign. Mars and Scorpio individuals have the ability to intensely focus on something to an obsessive point, and they are often able to achieve great successes because of this. And so many of us right now are being asked to not just seize the moment, but go into a state of kind of having our blinders on, I suppose, right now in order to achieve some sort of goal or in order to, again, kind of focus on what we want. But we need to move with intentionality. And that is, I think, one of the biggest points of this, because Aries as a sign and, the full moon being in this sign doesn't necessarily indicate that action is paired with intentionality. Aries moves on instinct, but Scorpio, where Mars is a lot more calculated. There's a risk assessment. There is an ability to think long term and to really scope out the full situation, as well as one's personal nature and what you really desire and what the truth is in a situation. So it's digging through multiple layers to make sure that when you embark on something or move towards a new endeavor, that you're doing so from a place of the most clarity, the most kind of alignment with one's truth, and an understanding of what really matters. So that's where the intentionality comes from. I think a great example of this is my brother, I think he has like 4 planets at least in Scorpio. And when we were kids, I'm a Gemini, and we would be on the beach, and I would just run out to the sand and mess around and maybe talk to other kids and this and that. And my brother, he would stand or sit on the towel and look out at the beach and look out at the sand. And he would take at least, 10 minutes or more to assess what was going on. And so there is that kind of viewpoint now of maybe we need to slow down enough to have that long-term vision come to light, to again calculate various factors, because we are being asked to take bold action and risk, but not headstrong risk or foolhardy risk where we're not actually thinking about the consequences of something. Another way that we can look at this, or another aspect that's important, is Mercury in Scorpio making a square to Pluto. Mercury square Pluto also requires an intensity of focus. And this Mercury right now kind of has a lot going on with it, because it's also at the apex of a yod where it's quincunxing Uranus and Neptune, which sextile one another. So Mercury is a planet of our thinking, of our communication, of our kind of relationships and sociability, as our perspective. This planet is needing to undergo some level of change. So this could mean changing your mind about something, or as we scope out the situation, we pick up different ideas of how to go about something differently. Or maybe we decide to approach a situation with another person differently or communicate differently. But there is a need to kind of evolve or transform or transmute something in our life. Like if we've had negative thinking, or if we've been focused on the wrong thing, or if we've scattered our focus, it's time to kind of bring all that back into a more intentional purpose so that we have clear thoughts, clear mind, clear ways of communicating, and kind of have all of our mental clarity on board. So with this quincunx to Uranus and Neptune, we have the potential to be, with that quincunx to Uranus specifically, to be overstimulated, distracted, to be scattering our focus, having too many ideas, too many things we want to change at once, you know, following all the different rabbits, and then you just lose them, right? Because you can't capture one if you are always changing and bouncing around. Mercury quincunx Neptune has a different, you know, negative potential outcome where we can have like a diffusion of our energy. So it can lose substance. It can lose power really easily. We can become confused, lethargic, full of self-doubt. You know, maybe we have this level of cloudiness in our mind, or we jump straight into things and then we start to feel like, oh, maybe I didn't really have a plan for that, especially because Neptune's in Aries. So there can be this feeling of, I really want to get started. I just really want to get started. But there's a lack of focus and a lack of understanding of what something takes. So both of these planets are challenging Mercury, and Mercury squaring Pluto is saying we need to overcome these propensities. We need to make sure that we are focusing on the things that really matter and not spreading ourselves too thin or doubting ourselves so much that we lose momentum, or that we, you know, jump into something without fully thinking it through. So this Mercury square Pluto, I think in many ways is about our ability to channel our personal power and use that to hone our mind as a tool so that we can think about and communicate and change our perspective in a way that aligns with that intention and focus that is going to help us take this big, bold action. So long view, sight setting, focus, intensity, and purposeful drive are the key words for that. So we also have Jupiter in Cancer making a square to Chiron in Aries. So this kind of aspect can be somewhat challenging because it can make us feel that it can make us feel at times like we are kind of leaving our comfort zone. You know, Jupiter in Cancer, I almost see like a little kid who spends a lot of time at home and the family's like, let's go outside. Let's go see what's out there. Let's go play with the other kids. And then that square to Chiron in Aries can create a confrontation with painful or difficult situations when that child does leave or does take that chance, or maybe insecurities come up. So it's basically saying that you might put yourself out there a little bit or put your heart into something, and there could be, you know, one's own insecurities that get kind of thrown back into your face. So there is some level of having to confront your fears of leaving your comfort zone, fears of not being good enough at something, you know, fears of just taking action on something, basically. But I do like the fact that Jupiter is making a trine to Saturn. They're both in water signs, and these planets together in a positive aspect talk about building something up through consistency. And in particular, Saturn in Pisces does that through trusting in a universal power, trusting in one's own intuition, and being able to adapt and make peace with whatever situation that you're in. So even though you may put yourself out there at times in a very vulnerable way, you might take certain chances on things and then have it thrown back in your face. Even though that's the case, that trine with Saturn will help fortify us so that if we are confronted with those difficulties, we can still trust our own intuition and instincts with things enough to be able to adapt to that situation and not just retreat back into our hole. Adapt and improve, basically. The last thing I want to talk about is this Venus here, because Venus is struggling quite a bit during this full moon. Venus is kind of the antithesis to Mars or Aries energy. It is the feminine, where Aries and Mars is the masculine. Venus is more kind of receptive, where Mars in Aries is about going out and getting what you want. Venus is about relationships and harmony, where Mars is about individual desires and self-identity. So the reason I'm bringing up that contrast is because we might have a lot more emphasis put on Mars and Aries qualities where Venus might lack. So that means that we may have a little bit of trouble right now when it comes to Venus ruled topics, especially around relationships. This could be a time where we are having trouble maybe a little bit when it comes to comparing ourselves to others. We might be critical of ourselves or others. If we produce art, for example, or even our own aesthetic, we might be like insecure about those things right now, especially Venus and Virgo. This is a sign of its fall. It's also conjunct the South Node, which weakens it. And then it's opposing Saturn, which is going to be exact on October 11th. So a lot of these things that I'm going to be talking about now that Venus is challenged by are going to reach its peak on October 11th in particular. But yeah, you just might find that relationships are a little bit more strained. You might find that there are maybe some people act impulsively or say things that they don't mean, or maybe they're aggressive, or maybe they kind of say something that gets to the heart of your own insecurity, and that could create some level of discord. It might be people might be more selfish right now, including ourselves, where we're not really thinking about the highest good of all or what's best for our, collective or our relationships. We might be just thinking about what do I want, and kind of having that intensity of focus on what we want can bulldoze the larger, I guess, ability to be in harmony with others. We could also have to make an important decision when it comes to things that we have previously put a lot of value on. We might recognize that there's actually something distorted about that or wrong with that, that we want to move away from. And I can see this often with Saturn opposite a planet. It will often kind of make us come to an impasse where we are having to choose between two paths. And in this case, this could be, for example, something about the way that you go about something stylistically, a relationship that you have, an outdated job, or some type of value system or approach that you've had to something. You might find that the way that you've gone about it needs to shift, where you let it go or you just choose something else, choose something new. If you are doing any kind of art or relationship or money type of thing, criticism and harshness are likely to be, issues that come up in regards to those areas of life. It could be really easy to want to be perfect with Venus and Virgo, wanting other people to be perfect and ourselves. And it can be hard to feel like we are just in a state of flow because of that kind of constraining energy and censoring energy that can come from wanting to be perfect with Saturn opposite Venus. I think we can also feel like we're being pitted against one another, or again, like we have to make maybe a hard decision on what it is that we value or what it is that we prefer in a situation or even in a relationship. We might also need to make austere choices, like cutting out a certain degree of luxury or sacrificing time with friends or cutting out certain foods and sweets in the name of achieving a certain goal. So oftentimes there can be this measure of austerity can actually be quite productive for us. So I think in that way, this Venus in Virgo is very helpful. And I think, again, we might have kind of a lack of diplomacy right now. So just be careful that you are not saying things that you don't mean, because communication can be really an issue right now with this Mercury having so much going on with it, being in the yod, squaring Pluto. It's really easy for things to be misconstrued or for your communication to come across as maybe aggressive or overly intense or not considering the other person's point of view. So in terms of like making important decisions or having important relationship conversations, There's a lot of room for things to go wrong. So just kind of keep that in mind, that you're stepping very intentionally and that you are making sure that you're not totally disregarding a sense of diplomacy in the dynamic. So ultimately, to summarize, this period of time, this Aries full moon, is about seizing the moment to create or go after something from a place of self-confidence, as well as building up one's self-confidence, and to take a chance on yourself or on something in your life and be kind of impressed with yourself or proud of yourself for taking those chances. So let's go ahead and get into what this is going to look like for all of the rising and sun signs, and you can check that out in my description box down below. I will have time codes for each of the signs. And don't forget to also like this video, subscribe, share with your friends, and comment down below. All right, at first we have Aries rising and sun. So this is an especially important full moon for you guys because it's in your sign. So that means it's going to take place in your first house if this is an Aries rising, or in the house of the sun, wherever you have an Aries sun. So this is a time where I feel like you guys are going to be more empowered because your planetary ruler is in domicile in Scorpio. So there's this feeling of being more confident, more at home in your skin. Maybe there is an ability now to kind of move through a difficult time, especially with Mars being in the 8th. And this Aries full moon is about kind of gaining traction or overcoming something, pulling through something, moving past a hurdle or a fear or something that has been keeping you up at night. And I see that with the 6 of Wands upright and 9 of Swords, in reverse. There's this feeling of anxiety, sleepless nights, and worry and fear that is subsiding. And now you're coming into a place of greater calmness. They've kind of killed this, sea monster. And I think that's a really great analogy, the sea monster, because when you look out on the ocean, you just don't know what's there. And there's this fear of the unknown, fear of what could potentially be wrong. And so that there might have been some of that going on for you guys, of like some worst case scenario thinking, or maybe something just actually troubling you in life and causing you to spiral a little bit mentally. And I'm seeing you guys like overpowering that, coming out of that essentially. I think that you guys are going to be a lot more focused, a lot more disciplined with this Capricorn card. I think that it's going to help you kind of get laser focus on the things that are going to be moving your life forward quickly or positively. So again, overcoming some type of hurdle. There is though a potential to have some relationship difficulties right now because your 7th house ruler Venus is really struggling right now. It's in a dysfunctional sign in Virgo. It's conjunct the South Node. It's opposite Saturn. So basically all those things add up to an afflicted relationship planet. And that's what I'm seeing here with the 3 of Cups in reverse as well, is maybe just a feeling of not really having people on your side, having some kind of discord in a relationship. This could potentially be in a work relationship or some type of like collaboration, or maybe some friendships. Maybe you're feeling a little bit disconnected from people in some type of way. I asked for a clarifier and I got the 4 of Swords and 5 of Cups. So 4 of Swords can represent some kind of stagnancy, things maybe not feeling, like things feeling kind of low or dead or like on pause. Like maybe you're not hanging out with people as much, or you feel like you need to take a break from people almost. Or maybe just things have been not the best in relationships. So you're kind of reflecting on relationships. I could see that being troublesome. And then the 5 of Cups usually feels like some kind of disappointment, like people disappointing you, people letting you down. So I do get this feeling that, your personal power is increasing. You are able to mobilize yourself to get out of some kind of issue in your life, to get unstuck, especially emotionally or anxiety wise. I see you guys moving past hurdles, internal and external, but I do think relationships are not on the mend right now. I think that it's more of a time for you to focus on yourself. So you might notice this kind of, this polarity between some really, feeling powerful and effective and confident again, but in yourself, but then relationships kind of lacking a little bit, disappointing you, lacking energy. And I guess if there's advice, it's to not put too much focus and attention right now on the relationship front, and to instead assert yourself in your life to focus on the things that are really productive, that are important for you. Even if that's emotionally, like focusing on overcoming some kind of internal trepidation, for example. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing for you, Aries. I hope that this is helpful or resonates with you. If it does, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, next we have Taurus rising and sun. This Aries full moon on October 7th is taking place in your 12th house. The wind is just completely going crazy right now. It just started. It looks like the tree's about to blow over. It literally just started when I got to your sign. And I just feel like there's something significant about that this might feel like a time of a little bit of tumultuousness for you guys, in particular because this is a full moon in your 12th house, which can sometimes dredge up stuff, especially from the past, or things that are outside of our control where we feel like somewhat powerless, especially concerning relationships, because the rule of this moon is Mars and it's in your 7th house of relationships. So there could be something with like partner, friends, or contracts, or like legal matters that may feel like they are outside of your control, and that things are moving in this kind of topsy-turvy way that could feel tumultuous for you, and you might feel uncertain about how to handle it to some degree. And it could bring about some degree of stress. And also your planetary ruler Venus is very afflicted at this time. It's in Virgo, which is a sign of its fall. It's opposite Saturn. It's conjunct the South Node. And it's in your 5th house. So there could be things pertaining to, again, relationships, to social gatherings, or to your children that may feel like they're not really going your way right now. So yeah, I don't know. I could just see this being a challenging, like a little bit more of a challenging full moon, not entirely like that you're not going to get anything good out of it, but you might feel that it's not the luckiest time for you guys right now. And I pulled the 6 of Wands upright and the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. I find this interesting because I feel like these kind of cancel each other out. So the 6 of Wands upright to me feels like support, relationships coming in and being generous, people really looking up to you or helping provide for you. And with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, and this also represents success. And with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, it's kind of the opposite. It's where people aren't helping you, or where you're not as lucky, or where things aren't being as successful as they normally are. So the combination of these two cards to me illustrates that you could have maybe some kind of support taken away, or where someone was once generous and giving something to you, they're not doing that anymore. Or there could be this feeling of having to fight more for someone's attention, for visibility, for some type of success, especially in relationships or legal matters. You might feel like, I have to fight for it, and will I even get it? I don't know, because there's some full moon in your 12th, which can bring about some feeling of either passivity or like not an ability to control the situation. So even if you do fight for it, is it going to make a difference? So those are things that could be going through your mind right now. We also have the 2 of Swords and then the Page of Cups in reverse. So this to me, this has a few different meanings. On one hand, because the Page of Cups is so associated with children and Venus, your rulers in the 5th house, there could be something going on with your kids, if you have kids, where you need to come to some kind of like conclusion or make an important decision in regards to them, or come to a truce with somebody in your life in regards to an issue with kids. This could also be like a creative matter or a social matter, like if you have an event coming up or something, needing to make an important decision around your dedication to that social situation or that that event. The Page of Cups can talk about things like canceled social engagements, bad news. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like you guys are going to come to a place of needing to clarify where you stand on something, your opinion on something, your decision with something in regards to another person or something that involves another person. So like, let's say a friend like cancels a plan on you or something last minute, and they've done this a million times. Like maybe with the Two of Swords, you're kind of needing to make up your mind about what you think about them or that situation, or if you want to address it, for example, or maybe there's an issue with your kids and you need to come to a truce with, with someone else that, the other parent or someone else that it involves. So yeah, I don't know. I just see like a little bit of this lack of support. Maybe feeling tension within the home or tension within the relationships, and just struggling a little bit with the difficulty around other people being manipulative or other people being like taking advantage, that kind of thing. Like I'm just getting the sense that where there was once generosity, there's kind of the opposite of that now. And I feel like what you're supposed to be focusing on right now is, first of all, your career with the Sun card. I think that you guys, need to come to a place where your energy and attention is going on to your goals, your optimism, building up your sense of respect for yourself by taking maybe consistent action on something that's important to you. I also think that you need to know that you have the ability to overcome this challenge, and that you are meant to be moving into a state of kind of oneness, or like a feeling of understanding, or forgiveness, or releasing and coming into trust and peace, rather than getting anxious about the situation with this person, or trying to control it, or trying to do all this. Like I think a lot of it is just asking you to where you need to let go. Like I guess that's the question. Like, where do you need to let go when it comes to this person or this relationship or this situation? Where do you need to just let go and trust? And where do you need to overcome or push for something to be fixed? And I think that there's going to be a balance between those at this time. So maybe emotionally you need to let go of some stuff, like, and just water under the bridge. But then maybe you need to fight for something to be, fair or equal. So it's going to be, again, a mixture of both of those things happening. So I hope that's making sense for you guys, but that's what I have for you, Taurus. If this is helpful, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, and my Gemini rising and sun, this Aries full moon on October 7th is taking place in your 11th house of friendships. And there is the ruler of this moon, Mars, is in your 6th house in Scorpio. So it might feel like there is potentially some imbalance in your friendships or in your relationships right now. I can see that with the 7 of Pentacles in reverse and 2 of Pentacles in reverse, 2 of Cups in reverse. The level of commitment, the level of devotion, that you're showing up to certain relationships may vary from you and another person. You might be also realizing that you're wanting to leave certain relationships or get over people and like what you've invested in them. If you have gone through any kind of end to a relationship in the past, maybe this is you getting some kind of like making progress, I guess, in terms of doing what you need to do for you and leaving the commitment that you had to that person behind, or that devotion to that person behind. I feel like it's interesting because these two cards were sandwiched by the 10 of Cups and the Sun. So I feel like you kind of started off thinking this person or this situation or this relationship is the be all end all. It is my life partner, or it is going to be my best friend, or it is going to be, X, Y, and Z. But with the 2 of Cups in reverse and 7 of Pentacles in reverse, you might have gone down that path and realized that it's actually not totally as balanced as you thought it would be, or it just maybe isn't living up to certain expectations. And then you end with the Sun, which is a card of optimism and clarity. So I feel like maybe you go in with this kind of, um, desire for something really perfect, but you leave with a sense of greater realism. And so, like, maybe you are used to idealizing people or putting people on a pedestal, or maybe not seeing certain qualities of them, for example. I don't know. I just feel like you're coming into a place of wisdom, really seeing things clearly around your own feelings, and that you can trust your intuition with things, or maybe your intuition becomes heightened in some way. But yeah, it just feels like you guys may have at some point questioned your commitment to someone in your life or to something in your life. And now you're kind of coming out of that, I guess. Like, maybe this was talking about the past, but it ends with the Sun card. So I just think that, especially with Uranus being in your sign and me pulling Uranus is full of people acting in unexpected ways, or things in our life changing really radically or really suddenly, or people coming in our life that we didn't expect, or leaving our life in a way that is very sudden and unexpected. So relationships and like a lot of areas of our life really can undergo a change when we have Uranus moving through your sign. So that dynamic quality, not everybody's going to be able to ride those waves. And again, some people might come in that you didn't expect to like somebody like that, but then they catch you off guard and you really like them. Or the opposite can be true, where you really thought you wanted to be with that one person. You had your sights set on something and then it changes. So there's something here around almost like, I feel like the overall thing here is that you might be changing your mind about certain relationships that you are really certain about before. You might start looking for different qualities, or attracting different kinds of people, or putting less energy into relationships that you thought were really important and more into different kinds of relationships. I just think that that's an area that's really going to evolve for you, and your sense of community, your sense of like what you're looking for in the future, all those things and how people fit into them is changing and evolving. And I think that's partially because Mercury, which is your planetary ruler, is at the apex of this yod. And it's also in your 6th house, and it's squaring Pluto in the 9th. So there's going to be a shift in kind of your larger perspective on life and your beliefs, and almost like being willing to adapt and to change what we maybe expect from people or expect from our life, and how people fit into our life as a result of those changes in our life and in our perspective. Let me kind of pull one more card for you guys. Like, is there anything, Spirit, in experience? Yeah, I feel like you're coming from a place of like, before maybe rose-colored glasses, or you just didn't have like certain experiences before, and now you've gone through quite a bit of change, maybe in relationships or people, again, coming and going, or shifts in your life that have made you gain wisdom about the kinds of things that you want or expect in your relationships, and it's changing what you are devoted to, what you are committed to, or who you're committed to, or what you're looking for in people, or what you will and won't tolerate, and what your gut tells you. So yeah, I just think that that's a general message, is the be willing to allow your concept of relationships and what you're looking for to change and to become clearer over time. So that's what I see for you, Gemini. If that resonates, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Cancer, rising, and sun. So for you guys, this Aries full moon on October 7th is in your 10th house of career. And one of the things that we can see from Aries moons are this feeling of action, impulse, movement. And for you guys, I feel like one of the messages with the Knight of Wands in reverse, which is usually the type of Aries quality of action, but it's in reverse. I almost feel like this is speaking to how maybe in the past, your ability to take a lot of action or move really quickly in your career, or to do a lot for the people that ask things of you, I feel like it could have kind of burned the candle at both ends and created maybe even at moments a low, where you have low energy, or maybe you lack like a certain creative spark or creative spirit or enthusiasm. And I feel like, yeah, like almost potentially people have pulled too much on you. Maybe with this sun opposite, in Libra on your fourth, maybe it's stuff with your family, for example, or stuff with your sense of security, or maybe people at work have demanded too much of you. But I just feel like almost this impulsiveness of saying yes to things or overdoing things, or just having a lot being required of you and maybe not always setting boundaries around that. And I can see you guys maybe needing to shift your mindset to do more of what you want to do. Because I feel like with the Lovers in reverse, the things that you were moving quickly on were things that were maybe required of you or that people wanted from you, because the Lovers in reverse can represent, it's not something that's necessarily like in alignment with yourself or for yourself. So yeah, I think part of the message here is, what do you really want? With the Eight of Wands, this is somebody who maybe they have multiple interests, and they will move quickly towards those interests. So this is about action and movement still, but action movement for the things that you want and the things that give you energy. So instead of it being, here's what we expect of you, and it drains you to do all those things, still putting that energy out there, but to areas of life that feel inspiring to you and that build you up, that are exciting to you. So I think that you're going to notice that if you make that kind of shift in your priorities right now, I think you will notice that you feel a lot better. And also shifting away from responsibilities and expectations and things, again, that other people put on you with the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. This is a card that really speaks to feeling like, you're lacking the energy for something, especially for sustaining something. So it might literally feel like something in your life has been unsustainable in some way. Like maybe something that you're doing, you've done for other people, or you've sacrificed for other people, for your family. And it just feels like there's something unsustainable about the pace at which you're doing something, or, doing something for others, or the expectations of others. And again, I think that it's not that you need to do less, because with the Eight of Wands, this person's doing a lot of things actually. But again, these are the things that this person wants to do. And so it gives energy and life force back to their lives. So there's something about your career, especially, where I feel like you guys need to be, if possible, doing more of what you love. So obviously we don't all have that level of discretion when it comes to the things that we do in our workplace. But if there's a way that you can, say no, then maybe you could say no to others and do things the way that you want to do them, or work on what you want to work on. Or if not, if you have to do things that are required of you, maybe outside of your work, you have certain passions and interests that you only do for yourself. Maybe you can put more energy into that. So obviously, again, we can't realistically negate all of our responsibilities, but this feels like there is a way here for you to dictate and have a little bit more personal power over what you are investing your time and energy into, instead of letting your schedule, your time, your work, and your future be filled up by other people's desires and expectations of you serving others. Because I just think that that's not what's in your best interest right now. So this is a time to kind of mobilize and think about what you need, what energizes you, what's best for your career and your future, and think a little bit more selfishly, because I think it's going to be very healing for you in order to set those boundaries or say no to those things. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Cancer. If that resonates, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Leo rising and sun. This Aries full moon happening on October 7th is taking place in your 9th house, which trines your ascendant in Leo. So this tends to be a more positive experience, but the 9th house has a lot to deal with our kind of faith, often in things that are bigger than us. But in this case, I think it's your faith in yourself. And I'm getting that from the cards where I got the moon and the strength in reverse. I think you're going to start to uncover where you have played small or where you have had kind of illusions of your lack of power in a situation or your lack of being able to maybe accomplish something. I don't know. I just feel like there's almost like a revelation right now that you were always in control or you always had the ability to accomplish this, but you had low self-esteem or you weren't seeing your own agency with something. And so I'm almost getting the sense of having like redefining your beliefs around what you're capable of and what is in your power to improve in your life. And I think that you guys are going to be able to start to see the weakness, in your life in terms of maybe a lack of groundedness with something. Maybe you've, again, put something outside of your control in a nebulous way of thinking, that is something that's out there and I just have to try to manifest it and it may or may not come. And it's more actually about your everyday grind or your everyday, habits and things that are going to make something real for you. And I see that with the Page of Pentacles in reverse. What needs to shift here is this level of, devotion and consistency and showing up in the real world to make something happen for you. So not just in your mind thinking about it and hoping that it happens, but actually, putting time aside in your day-to-day life to move one step forward just a little bit, every day or every week towards a specific goal that you have, and grounding it again into the physical and material world. So yeah, that's what I see. I feel like there's really understanding with Scorpio here that you have a sense of control over a situation, and that can lead you to feeling more optimistic, because when you recognize that you can gain control, that then means that the things that you want are within reach. It might take time. It might take a lot of effort or, just this level of consistency that might be difficult for you guys, just because of, what I'm seeing in the cards. Not that in your nature it's difficult, but it might have been something that you just didn't do. And so now it's kind of like rewriting your perspective of like, oh, I can totally have that. I just need to do X, Y, and Z on a consistent basis. The other thing that might be a little bit like wonky with the Page of Pentacles in reverse, and then also Venus struggling a little bit in the second house for you, is you might not recognize right now that money just might feel a little bit wonky right now. Maybe you have more expenses, or maybe you just are really becoming aware of where you've had low self-worth and have accepted less than you deserve, financially, but also relationally. So I could just see this being, again, a time where you need to think more practically. Like, how do I save up? How do I create security for myself? How do I build up my self-worth? How do I consistently work towards something that's important to me? And once you master those things in the material world, I think it will eventually produce the results that you're looking for. But you may need to create a budget. You may need to create a schedule. You may need to build up your confidence by taking action. And that's a very Mars ruled moon anyway. So let's see if there's anything else I want to say. My computer's like lagging. It's weird. Mars is in the fourth. So Mars is the ruler of this moon, and being in your fourth, again, I feel like that's really propelling you to need to create some kind of stability. And a big way that you do that is through the emotional sense of feeling secure. So I think really encouraging yourself right now, or doing something that creates a feeling of like routine, I think can make that sense of sense of security that allows you to follow through will be easier. If you're kind of encouraging yourself, building yourself up, showing up every single day, it's going to make you realize that this is actually a lot easier than you thought it would be. So yeah, that's what I see for you, Leo. If that resonates or is helpful for you, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Virgo rising and sun. This Aries full moon on October 7th is in your 8th house. And I do think that this is going to be a more problematic full moon for my Virgos, because I do think a full moon in the 8th house can tend to bring up one's fears and triggers in general. And I also think that there can be maybe a feeling of inadequacy that comes up at this time because Mars, the ruler of this full moon, is in your third and it's squaring Pluto in your sixth. So Mars in the third can stimulate maybe anxiety or overthinking or stress, especially with that square to Pluto in the sixth, where you might feel like you're behind, you're not doing enough, like you need to catch up or you need to learn more or advance more or just perform better at something. So there just might be this feeling of, again, not being quite good enough. And I see that also because Venus is in your sign, which usually is a good thing because it usually creates maybe more attractiveness or an ability to kind of soften, I guess, the things that you want and magnetize them to you. But in this case, Venus struggles in the sign of Virgo, and it's also opposite Saturn in the seventh and conjunct the South Node. So it's possible that some of you guys could potentially feel that maybe yourself or others are being overly critical, and it might create that feeling of inadequacy. So being hard on yourself is kind of common during a time like this with the Venus struggling so much. And one of the themes that I'm seeing repetitively coming through with the cards, with the Six of Cups in reverse and then the Child card and the Inexperienced card, there's something in your life where there's a number of things that could happen. If you're having issues with children, those things might come up right now. Maybe something going wrong with your children and feeling the stress of that. Another way that this can come up is feeling, again, like you are inexperienced at something, or like something that you kind of idealized and really wished for and hoped for is not living up to its expectations, because again, you might feel like you're not necessarily prepared. So it's almost like this feeling of potentially some type of disillusionment or losing faith in oneself and again, one's abilities, or losing faith in some kind of situation in your life that you were really excited about, but then once you start really looking at it, it's kind of disappointing to you. And so there might also be some themes around past coming back up. So maybe childhood dreams coming back up, or kind of long-standing emotional issues that you've dealt with coming back up, and needing to let go of the past. You could also feel potentially like emotionally triggered by certain things, but it's coming up so that you can clear them, because this Aries full moon is a lot about mobilizing ourselves and taking action and finding our agency and getting things kind of moving in our life again. So if you've been stuck in some kind of pattern of the past, like something potentially rooted in childhood or some, again, feelings of inadequacy, all of that is going to resurface in order to clear that away so that you can move forward a lot more quickly. So if you've kind of felt like you don't trust your own instincts, for example, then that's going to come up right now for you to heal. If you've had some disillusionment or some loss of innocence, that's going to come up for you to heal as well, so that you can basically turn over some type of new leaf. We also have the Knight of Swords in reverse and the Five of Pentacles. So these together can represent really feeling like there is some type of lack. So the Knight of Swords in reverse can represent feeling like you are inferior or out of your depth with something. And then the Five of Pentacles can represent that you're missing something, that you're lacking something, or that you don't feel yourself worthy of something. So again, this message is kind of just reiterating and reiterating. And for some of you guys with the ring, it could relate to maybe something in relationships, like maybe this is around relationships, like, oh, I don't feel good enough for a relationship, or this person hurt me in the past and it made me feel this way about myself, or maybe I've been single for a really long time and it makes me feel this way. Or, maybe you've gone through a divorce or the loss of somebody, and there's fear around that. So for some of you guys, this could be around children or creativity or something that you've wanted since you were a kid, or some issue that you've had since you were a kid. For others of you, it could also be tied to relationships. So Again, maybe feeling the sense of inadequacy or unworthiness in partnerships. And the 8th house is a house of intimacy. So yeah, I don't know. I think that others could reflect or somehow mirror to you where you feel your lack. So they could criticize you, or you could just have past events come up that bring about relationship dynamics that make you feel that sense of uncertainty in yourself. And I just think that it's almost like we need to find our spark again, find that, like, build up that sense of self-worth and confidence and belief in oneself, to kind of reignite what your connection to life, and turn over that new leaf after a potential kind of disillusionment experience, maybe recently or in the past. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Virgo. If that resonates, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and share with your friends. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Libra rising and sun. This Aries full moon for you guys is in your 7th house on October 7th. I'm going to be really honest with you guys in this reading. It's not the most pleasant one. So if you're not in the headspace for that, maybe you can click away. But I like to be honest because I think if you're going through something, it's helpful to know what this reflects. So first of all, I think that one of the reasons is problematic is because your planetary ruler, Venus, is in your 12th, in a sign it doesn't like to be in, conjunct the South Node and opposite Saturn. And it's just basically means that the planet that manages your sign is heavily afflicted and distressed. As a result, there are quite a bit of things that I think you cannot see clearly at this time with the clouds card. It talks about kind of skewing your sense of judgment and not realizing that there's maybe other things at play. So this could have to deal with, especially with the King of Swords, you could be coming at something from an illogical perspective. Maybe you're not seeing the whole thing of a situation, or maybe you are leading from a more reactionary, instinctual place rather than a logical one. Maybe there are people in your life that are hiding things from you, or you just don't know the full scenario of something. This could indicate that there's trouble with maybe some relationship stuff, because this full moon is in your 7th house of partners. And I see that also with the Justice and the 3 of Cups in reverse. There's some kind of cause and effect here of you doing something or someone else doing something, and it tips the imbalance in a relationship. So again, maybe this is you participating in gossip about somebody, or maybe it's you not respecting somebody's boundary, or vice versa. There's this cause and effect of, again, just like you or someone else doing something that's causing the relationship to become dysfunctional in some kind of way. And Aries oftentimes does have a lot to do with needing to say no, or set a boundary, or clarify something, or stand up for yourself. So, that could potentially be part of this. It can also represent, acting without thinking, acting impulsively. Again, maybe not seeing the full scenario and saying something before you fully think about it. And the Book card represents needing to learn more, needing to examine more, or needing more information. So again, I just think that there's some piece of information that you are missing, and you might make a hasty judgment call or say something impulsively, or somebody else could be in that position in your life, and they could act hastily or say something without thinking, and it could cause some type of disruption to relationships. With the Temperance and the Page of Swords, part of your advice is to really think before you speak. Try to come at something from a balanced mindset. We got the Temperance and Justice card, which both have to deal with being, again, balanced and fair. And you can only be fair and balanced when you actually have all the information to put into your mind and weigh the situation out to see what your judgment call is. And again, with your planetary ruler in the 12th house, I just don't think you have all of that yet. So having patience, holding off on something, acting moderately, or just kind of being more even-tempered in some way, not reacting to the initial prompting of something, I think is going to be really, really important. So yeah, I don't know. I just think that this situation indicates that you or somebody else is going to be potentially like pushing someone's buttons or needs to be put in line, or there is something being spread that's a lie. I don't know. I think this can be a lot of situations. Something could be manipulated, for example. This could be about a number of things, but the general gist here is that the situation has a lack of information, and the only way to truly navigate this as a real Libra, which Libras love to look at both sides fairly, the only way to do that is to wait, because you don't have all of the context in the situation. If this involves you towards somebody else, you know, it's saying maybe don't approach them yet, or maybe don't have this conversation yet, for example, especially because Mercury, there's quite a bit going on with Mercury at this time with this square to Pluto, and it's a part of a yacht and all this. So communication's already a little bit strained, and understanding of things is already strained for the collective. And then especially in your chart, there is an emphasis on this creating a bit of chaos or disruption to relationships. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Libra. Just take it easy, hold off as long as you can, try to be patient, look out for the signs of what you are not seeing, look for more information, try to clarify. And I think that will help you the most at this time. So if this is helpful or resonates, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Don't forget to also give me a thumbs up and subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Scorpio rising and sun. This Aries full moon is happening on October 7th in your 6th house. And this is an interesting one for you, because the ruler of this moon is Mars, and it's in your sign, in Scorpio, in your 1st house, or wherever your sun is. So it's something really personal about this moon, more personal than maybe, a typical moon would be. So when we have the moon in the 6th and the sun in the 12th, it can often highlight some imbalances in our physical or our emotional sense of well-being. And I think that that's something that's being presented to you guys. And a lot about what this moon is about is trying to mobilize ourselves and gain confidence to move forward with self-assuredness. And I feel like that's what's happening now with this crossroads card. You guys are reaching this kind of impasse in life where you have two paths in front of you that you can go down. And one is a path that you would take if you were feeling confident about something. Maybe you would decide to initiate something and just go for it. And then the other path is to kind of hide away or to not go down it out of fear and a lack of confidence in oneself. And so this full moon is really asking, which one are you going to be, essentially? And I can see that also with the cards, with the Queen of Cups. This can be a card that speaks about a kind of emotional immaturity, where you're letting your feelings get the better of you. And sometimes, Scorpio, you guys can do that in the sense that you can hold on to feelings. And if something is going wrong in a particular time of your life, then you might really hold on to those emotions, and it could potentially lead to disempowerment. But the Queen of Cups can also be transformed for my Scorpio. So you can use difficult times or uncertainties and transmute and transform those experiences. So when it's in reverse, though, it represents that you maybe feel like you're lacking trust in yourself, or you're feeling maybe overly sensitive about things, or you're holding on to things, or you're letting things make you feel insecure or uncertain. And if that is the path that you choose, the Justice in the Fool card says that if you keep investing in that emotional pattern, then it's going to lead you to not take advantage of new opportunities coming your way. And there are new opportunities that are coming your way, but it will make you doubt yourself so much that you don't take advantage of the things that are going to be offered to you. The other path is to build up your sense of confidence and self-worth, transmute difficult experiences and come back stronger from them. Take those insecurities and turn them into strengths by honing whatever it is you need to do in your life to become disciplined or to prove yourself that whatever those thoughts and feelings are not valid. The Magician and the Seven of Wands represents somebody who then is able to make the most out of their natural talents and persevere in the areas that are maybe challenging. So it's not saying that everything is easy all the time, but it's saying that there's a commitment to continue moving forward despite at times not feeling self-assured, and a commitment to decide, I'm going to build up my strength in this. I'm going to build up my confidence in this over time. So again, you're at some kind of crossroads right now where you can really choose between these two options. And it might be easy to be insecure right now with Venus conjunct the South Node and in Virgo. And you might in particular have some things going on relationship-wise where that comes out, but this doesn't have to be. But it could be around, the public or social media or friends or even romantic relationships where these insecurities really take flight. But anyway, I just think that you guys need to know, you need to decide internally that you are going to continue on, I guess, and not hold yourself back, not move forward with something out of fear or self-judgment. So anyway, that's what I'm saying. I think this is a time of just trying to build up your confidence so that you are able to take advantage of the opportunities in front of you and to keep moving forward. And so there might be some challenges around that mentally and maybe even physically, because that 6th, 12th house axis can often bring around mental or physical disabilities or challenges. So there might be certain hiccups that you have to overcome on a physical or emotional plane, but the spread is saying that you can do that. It takes a level of, again, commitment and kind of a willingness to feel uncomfortable or feel uncertain and still move forward anyway. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Scorpio. I hope that makes sense for you. This could really play out as something related to work, since this is also in your 6th house, but it could just talk about something less physical as well. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. Please let me know in the comments below if this resonates. I love to hear from you guys. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next I have Sagittarius rising and sun. So for you guys, this Aries full moon on October 7th is taking place in your 5th house. Generally a more positive house because it's trining the ascendant. It's in the same element as yours. But I do think that this has a little bit more of like a complicated theme to it because the ruler is in Mars, is in your 12th house. So that can relate to certain elements of needing to let things go. And I can really see that with the 5 of Cups upright and 8 of Cups in reverse. There's some kind of grief or sadness, melancholy, maybe some elements of past events or failed relationships or something going on with kids, or maybe your creative life, like those areas in particular with the moon in the 5th. Those could have had some issues in them, and then Mars in the 12th is saying it's time to let go of that past. It's time to lighten your heart, lighten your load. You might also, I don't know. It just feels like a desire to kind of hold on to those feelings, almost out of fear. Like, what happens if I move on from this? Or you can want to move on really fast, but not actually have totally processed something and have brought in all the self-awareness to the situation. So it could be either one where you're lingering in the emotions and the grief for too long, or it could be the opposite where, again, you're moving on really fast, but you haven't really brought in the self-awareness and the healing and the perspective that you need to actually fully learn from the situation that you were in. So there's some kind of thing going on there, again, with relationships, children, creativity primarily, or one's kind of self-expression. So something going on with that. The second message is purely material one. And I think this comes from the fact that Venus is struggling right now, and it's in your 10th house. So this is a money planet and in a career house. So there's something going on here. And I got all Pentacles cards, and I got the Queen of Pentacles upright, which is really good. But I got the 9 of Pentacles and Page of Pentacles in reverse.
So to me, there's something going on here when it comes to money. The Nine of Pentacles in reverse can represent, financial independence, but there's a lack thereof. Maybe you are overspending, or there's this feeling of maybe being stressed that you have to take care of something or rely on yourself for something. Maybe some issues going on with career. It doesn't have to be, but there's just this general sense with the Page and the Nine of Pentacles of maybe having having a lack of potentially like foundation with something in career. And this could be that there's maybe some issues within career relationships, or financial matters, or career successes. But I think that you guys, it doesn't have to be that negative either. It could be a light degree of that. But the message that I'm getting with the Queen of Pentacles upright in the book is that there's something that you need to learn, to study, or gain more information on in order to feel really in control of your career trajectory, your goals, your financial matters, and also kind of your sense of agency or power within your dynamics at work. So there's something going on either relationally, but for most of you it'll be monetarily, in regards to kind of career prospects that I feel like has maybe been lacking in the past, or there's some groundwork, some practical matters that you haven't fully attended to. So this is like, oh, I don't have a long-term plan for my money, or I don't have a will, or I don't have a budget for something, or whatever this is. There's a sense of needing to, or maybe you're trying to save for a particular goal, like a house, for example, with the Queen of Pentacles. Or maybe you want to do something for your children financially, and you're realizing that maybe you haven't taught them everything, or maybe there's some kind of gap in knowledge or in practical efforts. So there's something that you need to learn and implement here. So again, that could be learning how to make a will, or learning how to invest, or start a 401k, or start an education fund for your kids, or learning how to like make more money or get better at business. I don't know. It's going to look different for all of you, but there's something really practical about this, where it's saying that there is some deficiency of some sort in the actions that you're taking in the material world to make sure that all the groundwork is laid to have a really successful future and a stable future, financially, or just, career-wise or goal-wise. So that's a big message for you guys, is to kind of make sure that you're checking all the boxes with that. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Sagittarius. I hope that this is helpful for you. If so, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to also give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Capricorn rising and sun. So this Aries full moon happening on October 7th is taking place in your 4th house. And there is a kind of a weird message coming through in the cards that normally I watch a lot of tarot readings, and when I listen to people say this type of message, I always click off because I'm like, that's just annoying. So normally I wouldn't share this, but I do want to share what I'm seeing because it might be really relevant for some of you guys. So one of the things that I think is coming through right now with the full moon in the area of home and family, there could be something in regards to like inheritance for some of you guys. It's like some fighting over money within the family. But one of the messages that's the disturbing thing is the snake card. And this represents having something happening that you are not like fully aware of, that somebody is undercutting you or trying to deceive you, or that there's a situation which you cannot see the entirety of it clearly. And there's a problem, like there's a snake in the grass, but you just don't know that it's there, or you don't know how much of a problem this is. So this is something in regards to your home or family. You might not see that it's as much of a problem as it is right now, or you might not see how someone is trying to kind of go against you in some way. We do have Mars in the 11th, so there might be something here in regards to friends, where friends are not actually as nice as you think they are, or it could be something in regards to family and, again, money and security, or something within your house. maybe something going wrong that you don't realize there. We also have Mercury in the 11th squaring Pluto in the 2nd, so there could be something going on in regards to discussions around fairness and money and the future of some kind of financial thing that you're not aware of the situation with. And I don't know, I'm just seeing a lot of deception because we have the moon card as well, and the moon card is a card of illusion and deception, and uncertainty around things, like not seeing something. So again, I just really feel like this message is kind of doubling down that something is going on. It could outright be talking about someone being deceiving, but it could also talk about you just not knowing that there is more to the situation at hand and that there is a potential negative consequence if it's not addressed. This could also be talking about something that's already happened in the past, though, because I feel like a lot of this Aries full moon is about moving forward or getting out of an energy that has been blocking us. So maybe there has been conflicts in regards to your home or certain friendship issues and you're moving out of it. So I don't know where it is in terms of timeline for each individual. But we also have the Queen of Cups in reverse. And this, again, really goes along with that snake card about somebody being bitter or vengeful or manipulative. I just get the sense that there's someone that you maybe can't trust. That's either a friend or a family member or, both. Or they're doing something that affects your family or affects you emotionally or affects your sense of security. I don't know. I'm just getting the sense that, like, not everyone is how they seem in this situation. Again, it could be any kind of relationship, really. The 10 of Pentacles in reverse can also represent having, again, maybe some kind of fighting around money, fighting around inheritance, or having some kind of like financial distress happen. So some kind of thing that may feel destabilizing, like somebody is doing something to undercut your stability or undercut your emotional or financial stability in some way. Even if it's not necessarily just to hurt you. It could be something, potentially with the snake, but it could also be just to promote their own superiority or their own gain, I guess. But in the end, we have the Eight of Wands. And this is a card that really speaks of overcoming something by taking sudden action and really thinking on your feet. So this has this feeling of something gaining traction, gaining momentum. So if you've been somehow delayed by this issue, or if someone is trying to undercut you in some way, I feel like you might be able to make a really last minute, change or a sudden change, or address something really quickly, or move in some type of way. There's a sense of like speed and movement with this card in general, or travel somewhere. I don't know. There's some kind of solution in that regard. Let me maybe pull one more card to see if, like, what else that could, any advice around this, Spirit, because it's not that helpful to know that something, Fortune. So I don't know, you might need to make like a move to protect your money somehow. So maybe there's somebody out there who wants to steal money from you, or there's some kind of change in your home or your fortune in some way that you can quickly implement to protect yourself. But there's a sense of threat looming out there, I guess. And I really don't like that kind of message because I just don't know if that's really applicable to everybody. And I think it's fear mongering. But in general, I think that this is standing out so strongly. So whoever this does apply to, I think it's important to share this with you guys. But you might need to take some kind of quick decisions to protect your assets, to protect your fortune, your sense of stability. And then, let me just see if there's anything else by reading this. You have the ability right now to create great success in your life. Luck and Prosperity says it's time to share your good fortune with others. She will show you how it multiplies. If material success is what you intend, you can co-create it. If it's a rich relationship life, you will attract and develop it. Nothing is out of reach. Okay. So I think that this situation can turn out just fine. I guess what I just mean is if there's been any, this could also be yourself as well. Like if you've undercut yourself in some type of way or blocked your own material success, this could also speak to not recognizing how maybe you have sabotage yourself in certain ways, though that's usually something I see more involved with the 12th house, which you don't have anything there right now. So, but that is just a potential. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys. If this makes any sense at all, I would love to hear in the comments down below what this could relate to for you. If it doesn't make sense, feel free to also let me know as well, because this message was not really one I wanted to share. So I'm curious if it doesn't land. But let me know. And then don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe and share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right. I'm next to have Aquarius rising and sun. This Aries full moon on October 7th is taking place in your 3rd house. What can we expect from this full moon? Well, I think that this moon is talking about kind of forward movement, and for many of us, some type of resolution. For you, this is going to come in the form of something related to your kind of career or your place in the world, even where you live or your goals. Because the ruler of this moon is Mars, and it's in your 10th house. So there might be some kind of like news or decision or something that happens in regards to your career, place of living, or goals that creates a sense of like freedom, or like a new leaf being turned over, or some kind of new exciting path unfolding for you, and that people will kind of celebrate with you. Like it's something to celebrate. So we start off with the 9 of Swords in reverse, which is a card that speaks to releasing our fears and our anxieties. I think that there was something in regards to your, like something that you needed to decide about where you live or what you're doing for your career, your goals, that you maybe have like were postponing the decision of, or maybe you stayed in something too long, like staying in the wrong career for too long, or the wrong place of living for too long, some type of situation that you maybe again kind of stagnated in a little bit, or refused to leave even after the cycle was ready to end. And I see that this Aries full moon represents either you have already made that decision, or you are kind of starting to make that decision now to leave whatever that thing is behind. And the 9 of Swords in reverse says that it's going to kind of free you. Well, actually, it was initially dropping the fear around making that decision is what allows you to do it. And it leads to, with the 5 of Swords in reverse, some kind of peaceful resolution, some type of, promising situation, because you're able to not have the fear around, what if I leave this job and I don't have money and this goes wrong and that goes wrong, and you're like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to leave. And it actually leads to a really good outcome. Like something comes your way that's better, or you're able to just, retire, or able to move somewhere that's, cheaper or better for you. It's like a positive outcome just happens to come out of that. And I can see that with the Ace of Wands. A new cycle begins for you, one that's more inspiring, one that's more free, that's more creative, that's more authentic, that lights you up more. Where you were stuck in darkness and fear, you are now turning the page into some type of lighter, more optimistic period. And with the bouquet, I can see that people are celebrating you. They're celebrating what you have accomplished. Maybe this is like you're literally getting more invitations. That's a very 3rd house thing. First of all, to make the decision to walk away from this is very 3rd house. But the second part of the 3rd house is there being some social element, people congratulating you, people taking you out for a drink, people giving you a present, and that level of kind of sociability where they're supporting you. That's what the bouquet represents. We also have Venus and the South Node, like a kind of dysfunctional Venus in your 8th house. So there might still be some concern around money, especially, if this is concerning investments or money from your family or your partner, or money that's owed to you long term, or money that you owe to other people, things like that. So there might still be concern in regards to money, but I do think that even though that worry is there, it seems like there's going to be a really positive sense of direction for you guys. So I think that those things can be resolved over time, or those practical matters can be handled as they come up. So overall, this looks really positive to make the decision to get unstuck or get out of a situation you've been in for too long. So you should be proud of yourselves for being able to do that, and enjoy the celebration or the positive energy coming your way. So that's what I see for you, Aquarius. If that makes sense or helps you at all, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye. All right, up next we have Pisces rising and sun. This Aries full moon on October 7th is taking place in your second house. And when we have a full moon in the second house, we can have quite a bit come up in terms of financial matters, our sense of self-worth as well. And Mars, the ruler of this full moon, is in your 9th house, which is a house of growth and faith and optimism and trust and our belief systems. So there might need to be some higher perspective, which is 9th house, and wisdom that you might need to gain around your financial life and your self-worth, and also your agency and how you've contributed to those areas of your life. Because Aries is about our agency. It's about moving things forward. And if you have had any kind of blocks or issues in regards to money or your own feeling of worthiness in relationships, then this full moon is going to highlight that and help you gain some larger perspective to have a fresh start in regards to those things. And I pulled the Woman card, which is a thematic element. It's an oracle card speaking about the theme of this reading. And this could literally be talking about you if you're a woman, or if you have a woman in your life. If you're married, for example, this could be talking about her. But there's something going on in regards to like feminine energy. And my Pisces, I do think that this is kind of speaking about your nature, because Pisces is very intuitive. Pisces likes to go with the flow. Pisces likes to respond and receive rather than initiate. And Aries, where this full moon is all about initiating. It's about the masculine principle. It's about the making things happen on your own. So Pisces rising people, because you have the moon, or because you have Aries in your second house, part of your journey is to learn how to be kind of financially independent. It will depend on your chart, but financially independent, or being willing to go out and get your own money, being willing to, again, take initiative or be the first in your family to make money in a different type of way. Having some kind of independence and self-reliance with finances tends to be the pattern with Pisces rising individuals, because you have Aries in your second house. So that topic is coming up right now. And one of the cards I pulled is the 9 of Pentacles in reverse, which is feeling like you don't have your finances in order, feeling like you may need to rely on somebody, or even if you don't rely on somebody, maybe just feeling like you're not as financially stable, you're not quite where you'd like to be with money. Or maybe there's just something in regards to your own sense of self-worth with the 8 of Cups in reverse, where you feel maybe you're not, maybe you feel like maybe you're not as confident as you could be, or kind of asking for what you deserve, almost like having a low sense of self-esteem that might make you feel dependent or reliant on other people to build you up. Like, oh, I want to be in a relationship to feel better, or I need this person to help support me financially, or maybe I want to distract myself to not, recognize where you might need to build yourself up again, like to see where there's a sense of weakness, I guess. You could also have fear of commitment as well. So there could be a lot of things, but for Pisces, there tends to be a dependency. Not always, of course, but there is, again, more of a follower kind of feminine energy of, oh, you said I should do that. Okay, I'm going to do that. Or waiting for opportunities to come to you and reacting to them rather than initiating them. There's that sense of following someone else's lead or a certain prompt in your life. And I think that generally works for Pisces, but at this time, I think that there needs to be some self-initiative, with Saturn being in Aries, I guess it's not in Aries right now, but Saturn is going to be in Aries shortly, and it has been in Aries, not that long ago. So Neptune being in Aries as well, there's this, and Neptune is your modern ruler. There's this sense of needing to be a little bit more independent and, again, self-motivated, self-driven. And so that's part of what I think this full moon is trying to teach you is how do I need to, like, what do I need to do to stop some kind of cycle where I have maybe been just going with the flow too much, and or not confident enough to take a stand with something, put a boundary with something, ask for more with something, or pursue something wholeheartedly. So it could be that I lack confidence with it, or that I'm not, again, that I'm like waiting for someone else to kind of take the lead with something, or being overly dependent or reliant on what other people think about something. There's something going on here with that where it's like, again, seeking too much outside of you and embodying that kind of feminine energy too much, like looking for the male as the leader, for example. So this full moon is about overcoming that and instead embarking on your own financial journey, building yourself up with this Ace of Pentacles. This is some kind of new financial opportunity, some kind of opportunity to create more security in oneself or more stability in your physical or emotional life. So I just think that a lot of this full moon is about, again, kind of building yourself up, taking responsibility for yourself, taking initiative for certain things within yourself, feeling confident in the decisions that you're making, and ending a cycle of maybe not choosing the best ways to move, like to invest, for example, if you've made financial mistakes, or if you have listened to other people and it's done you dirty, or if you have kind of lost yourself in a relationship or in something that you were doing. This is saying to take responsibility for that at this time and end that cycle and begin anew by creating stability for yourself with your own intuition, your own initiative. And that is going to create the stability that you're looking for. So I hope that is helpful. I hope that makes sense for you guys. If so, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye.